And your last name is Lui?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that?
Perfect.
Really? Okay, cool. That's a new one.
Many people got that right.
Stella guy gave me the sound. Lui. There's a province in Thailand called Lui. So if I make it too extended, it's a brain thing. Sorry. Lui. It's an interesting sound. Lui. Lui. I speak some Mandarin, but no Cantonese, so a little bit. I never studied, just when I was living over there. So where does this go here? Okay. All right, welcome everybody. Can you see me okay back there? It's good, Chris? Everybody, this is really an exciting night and really a thrill and honor for me to meet these three gentlemen, great jazz musicians here in Hong Kong. First of all, we have Patrick Lui, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Quite a well-known and renowned jazz piano player here in town, teacher, arranger, composer, all of that, right? A lot of awards and accolades, and so I'll just kind of direct you to him, find him out there. And as well as Nate Wong on drums, and let me get it right, Wong Taichung on bass. All right, so I'm really happy to meet these guys. Since I've been here about a year and a half, I've been longing to meet more creative artists, musicians, improvisers, and jazz players. So what we're going to do tonight is hear some music from this trio, talk about it, see how you feel, see how you think, what kind of questions emerge in heart and mind, questions about the music itself, improvisation, the creative aspect of being human, and all of that. So it's really an open field for us. So welcome to everybody. I'm really excited. The only thing I regret is not having my saxophone, because when I walked in and heard these three brothers playing, I was happy, and it brought back so many memories, so many thoughts and feelings about making music together, communicating in that. I suppose specially focused in jazz, right? So without any further ado, let me welcome these three gentlemen, Patrick Lui and his trio, and please help me give a warm welcome. Wonderful. And how many of you knew that tune? Knew the name? What song that was? Anybody? One in the back, yeah. Go ahead. On Green Dolphin Street, absolutely. Have you ever read the lyrics of that tune?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, right. Do you remember them at all? Do you remember what it's about?
Not really.
I mean, it has to do with love. Which is kind of a common theme. So we wanted to create a little bit of an improvisatory space, since that's part of the heart of jazz. And so I neglected to introduce the song, but I'm just wondering if there's anything that comes to heart or mind that you want to share or ask or talk about. Ask of anyone as we go through, because we've got several tunes they're going to play, maybe a handful, 4 or 5, something like that. And we're happy to talk about any of the experience of listening or playing, questions about jazz, improvisation. Anything come to heart or mind? Any questions come up? Go ahead. Please.
First of all, it's a huge pleasure to actually attend the concert.
Oh.
Because in my home country of Latvia, in Europe, we are totally closed down.
Oh, man.
We currently have this Jazz Car International Music Fair, which is virtual this year. So this physical proximity to you is a huge pleasure, guys. And what I was, well,
right?
I hear that you love the deep roots of bop and bebop tradition. Could you maybe tell a little bit about your how you managed to establish a personal relationship between this huge and influential tradition and your own music making, both as a pianist and as a composer, because it's hugely interesting.
Well, I think that's a very good question. Thank you for it. Making something with such a rich history, your own, is it's not easy, but it's also it's kind of a discovery process. You hear a lot of music, you try to learn as much as possible, but in the end, how you express yourself is, especially in jazz improvisation, it's the choices you make while playing. So actually, you make your choice based on, hopefully, based on what you listen, what's happening around you, and you choose what you've learned, maybe out of 100, let's say, lecks or vocabulary. You pick one that's most suitable for that situation, and then you play it, and hopefully your bandmates respond to you, and you respond back to them. And in this process, actually, you find what you love is what you play, actually. So I didn't really consciously make anything my own. I just try to connect with what I love, what I hear, and when I hear something I like, I pick up on it, I study it, and one of the key elements of learning jazz improvisation, I guess, is to pick something apart. You hear maybe a 4-bar phrase and a 2-bar phrase, something Bill Evans played and you like, and you have to really pick it apart and study just one note or two, and then you make it your own, and you try to use the same thing, same lick, same vocabulary at different places, and these are your choices, and I guess that's how you sound. Your sound is, as you have noticed, that stemmed in a very rich history, but still, it still sounds personal, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything you'd like to know about jazz?
Why don't we just keep rolling and you know, guide the ship here, and
Right.
anytime someone has something in between, just kind of feel it, and I think it's going to be beautiful just to let you guys do
All
your
right.
thing, right?
Let's do one more. that was a tune called Recorder Made, written by famous saxophone player Joe Henderson. Actually, let me talk a little bit about what we have been doing here. We did not have a rehearsal for today, but for the reason behind that is we want to keep it fresh. We want to, oftentimes in jazz trio or in larger ensembles, you see written arrangements. And there are places where we have decided what to play, exactly what to play, and then we leave some room for improvisation. So that is the less improvised spectrum in jazz, and then there is free jazz, which is way into the free spectrum in jazz. So what we're trying to do here is we pick some common ground, we pick some tunes that we all know, but without any order. We just have a pool of tunes that we're going to play, and we'll start. I'll start, and they try to pick up on it, and we'll see how it goes. And without any rehearsal, you might think that we do not need to do any preparation, but quite on the contrary. We have prepared many years for this gig because we spent many years jamming in jazz clubs, jamming with different musicians, learning our craft, learning how to react, learning what a drummer does on different tunes, what a bass player does, what a piano player does, and we react to each other based on our experience. And this way we keep a tune, we keep a sort of a harmonic structure, a form, but we play around with it, and we try to, without any rehearsal, without any rearrangement, we are forced to listen to each other and pick up on each other's ideas. And we make mistakes, of course, but that's okay because what's more valuable is the interaction. So if you listen to jazz and sometimes you're not so sure what the musicians are doing, one thing to look for is, are we listening to each other? What are our ideas connected? So that's what we're trying to do today, and we hope you enjoy it. So we're going to keep going. I don't know what tune yet, but we'll see. So that was a tune called "I Love You," written by Cole Porter. So actually, it was written for. It was written as a quite easy listening tune, a melody for. I forgot. Is it for? It should be a musical theater work. So Cole Porter is was a famous songwriter, famous for his beautiful melodies. So we try to break that melody apart and try. At least I try to keep it still recognizable. I hope. Sometimes when we improvise, we take apart the motive of the melody. So the original melody is like this. So that's a interval, wide interval jump. So that's what I've been playing around with in my improvisation, and hope you recognized it. Yeah. Is there any questions? Anything you would like me to expand on? So you guys know what we're doing.
Yeah, actually I have.
Yeah.
Just one, because you mentioned before that while you're improvising, you're trying to use all your past experience to play during the improvisation. But is there a chance to have creating something new? Because if you are referring to, in my knowledge, if you are referring to something in the past, what you've done, and try to improve it, is it like using doing something old, and is there any chance to create something new?
Yeah, actually, well, first of all, even if we're using knowledge from our past, it's just like speaking. I think I once went to a master class done by a famous bass player, Victor Wooten, and he compared learning jazz, playing jazz actually, to learning a language. So imagine if we are having a conversation. So we use the words we know. We use all the idioms we know. But still, every time it's a new conversation. So it's a new, to me, it's a new creation every time. As long as we don't use the same thing in the same order over and over again. Even with the same phrase, you could develop it, you could play it with different dynamics, different articulations, and it would still sound fresh, still sound new. And that's one of the things. And I think it's a very accurate and beautiful analogy, language and jazz and music. Actually, when I'm talking to you now, it's an improvisation, right? Because I didn't know you're going to ask that. And I try to answer your question with my knowledge. So this is kind of a...
But is there a chance that you're actually creating something new, not using your past experience?
Okay, I can try it right now, actually. Maybe just by myself. See you guys. If you guys want to join in, then join in. try to play, make things up as I play along. It's not a tune. Some chords I know. These are chords I know. I try to make decisions as I go along. So the chords you recognize, I think. You've heard these chords before, not exactly in that order, but I guess it's still something new.
You know, Patrick, I think the question is really a great one, and
Yeah.
the way you respond to that and is something to reflect about, you know, in that human experience. So even, you know, say from the time these gentlemen started to learn jazz, right, and the experience of that language, just like a language that you speak, changes over time, right? And so you might speak the same words that you spoke yesterday to someone, slang, or even you tell someone you love them yesterday, you tell them today, that love has grown and changed. Or you know, it's always, even with the same words, there's some different level of meaning there, right? So a lot of it has to do with our relationship to the experience. You know, like if you're a student, you might be thinking more in the structure, form, chord, all of that level until you start to embody it, and then it takes on a new meaning. And then you start to forget some of those structures, the theory, those aspects, and then you even, is there another level? Yes, there is. What is that? It might not be perceptible to every hearer, every listener, right? But it certainly is to the music, to the musicians, right? So it's really a wonderful question, I think, and you remind me of something when Victor Wooten was talking about language. I used to always ask a group of students about improvisation. I'd say, how many of y'all improvise? And there would be a few people, right? And I'd say, okay, now everybody put up your hand, right? Everybody put up your hand. Let's all do it right now, actually. Everybody put up your hand. Everybody put your hand. It was like, how many of you improvise, right? All of it, just like you were saying, when you're speaking, right? It's all improvisation. So there's this other aspect of jazz that's just so beautiful that embodies something deep in the human experience, right? Because communication can create healing, it can create conflict, it can create whatever the intent is, right? So anyway, beautiful question, and nice to reflect on it.
A good question to expand upon, because I maybe am understanding, well, at least I try to understand where you're coming from with your question, and this always means that tension, or at least the problematic relationship of the tradition, for example, in this case, with the jazz tradition, and the individual who does, because if we view, for example, this lovely collective in front of us, you both exemplify the development of jazz, and you also, to a sense, or to a certain extent, you carry a burden of previous jazz tradition on your shoulders, and it vastly depends on how you approach this rich heritage, how you will feel about it. Actually, if I may ask, we know that jazz is, well, for me as a listener, jazz is a hugely enticing and also sometimes frightening territory, because I view you as immensely courageous individuals, especially in this setting. You came on stage, you sat down, and you actually revealed to us that you have not prepared compositions in the traditional sense of the word, that you have not rehearsed it. So it is a hugely terrifying experience for someone who, for example, would not be able or experienced enough to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe you as well could reveal to us what has been the most frightening moment for you as a jazz musician from your experience, and at what time have you felt the most courageous about your jazz musicianship and performing on stage?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and thank you for that. Actually, I'm still very frightened when I play. Yeah, you never if you really never get over that fear. You learn to deal with it, you live with it, and actually, the most courageous moments come from your most frightening moments, actually. If you overcome that fear and you emerge from that, that's actually some of the most exciting moments or interesting moments in my jazz, when I play jazz, actually. So when I first started, it's the fear is same as everybody. You're afraid to be lost in the form. You don't know where you are, and maybe these guys know, but I don't know, and you mess up the form. But you get over that by working on it actually. Yeah. So you practice and you learn tunes, but still that if you take risks, if you do a solo, and you truly want to improvise and not rely on the licks you practice, the melodies you know, if you take risks, there are chances you still get lost, even for professionals or whoever it might be. But the key is when that happens, how do you deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
You listen to, and hopefully the bandmates are there for you and they help you, and you get back in. So it's just like in life. If you have friends to help you out, then just feel free to make mistakes. And
Have you had the experience where, okay, maybe you're lost a little bit, lose the form or anything, and the other guys actually go with you? They're like, okay, let's not go back to it. Let's kind of keep going that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think we have all done that.
Uh-huh.
And we should all do that. I mean, when we first start, I think if one of the guys get lost in form, for those of you who don't understand, we follow maybe a 32-bar form. So we repeat that form. So if we're at the 8th bar and somehow you are improvising, you're at the 9th bar. So the chords sound totally different. Well, first thing you do is you have to know that you're at different places. If all players are inexperienced, they might not know. I'm at the 7th, he's at the 8th, and he's at the 20th bar. So the thing is, you try to listen to each other and get back in the same place. At first, it might be very, very, very frightening. But as time passes, as you make more mistakes, you get more experience, and you actually find the moment when you get back together is very satisfying, actually. So, yeah, let's just take risk and help each other out. One of the things you want to avoid is to, well, I'm at the right form. I'm at the 9th bar. You guys are wrong. So I just keep doing my thing, and it's not helpful at all.
It's one of the most powerful aspects of jazz as a social power, you know, understanding how to relate, because it's not about force, you know, it's really about listening and connecting and community. So where do you want to take us next, guys?
Okay, so is it almost time? I think it's our last tune for tonight.
Yeah, okay.
So once again, we have Nate Wong on drums, Wong Tak-chung on bass, and I'm Patrick. It's been a great pleasure playing for you guys tonight. Yeah?
Can I answer this question too?
Yes, please.
Yeah, for both of you, I have some little bit of thoughts too. I mean, everything on the same line as Patrick thought. I mean, but for me, the terrifying moments as an improviser is basically the same as in life. Like when you feel like you can't be yourself, or you're trying to be yourself, but the other people are like wanting something different from you. As an improviser, that's like very uncomfortable, and those are the moments that I fear the most. You know, I don't really fear free improvising or anything like that, but if I'm just trying to play and I feel like the other people like don't want me to play that way, or don't want this, they want something else, those are the things that make me really stressed out. And so I felt that before, and also as a musician, I now know like I can't let other people feel that way, because the improvising, it hinders the improvisation. So like as you know, as being a human and also as being a musician, like one of the keys to success is just find situations where you can be yourself, and then also allow other people to be themselves. I think that's really key to that. Yeah, and to answer your question about newness, I think it's like, you know, all of us really search for freshness and newness all the time, and it's almost like one of those questions where it's very hard to achieve, like, and almost impossible to achieve. Like, I'm looking for the word, but I can't remember. Like when you meditate so hard that you really clear your mind and it's blank, you gotta try to get to that point where you're like so blank that things are really actually new and fresh, but it's kind of impossible to reach there, right? So you sit down at the piano, you're like, I'm gonna play something fresh. You're like, but then you played a C already, and you know where that C is. You already know, so it's like, oh no, and then you're like, okay, let me play a C, but I'm gonna play like something weird underneath, like a D flat. But you know that too. So it's like you're already stuck in this thing where like nothing's new. But then like what Patrick said, the way to create newness is to be in the moment, to play fresh stuff for the moment. And then also as improvisers, like to clear your head as much as possible, and then just to play stuff that you hear and react in the moment. That's like the freshest you can do, you know? Yeah, something like that. Thank you. Yeah.
As you guys go into your last song, I just want to thank you all again, and thank you all for being here, and invite you, if you haven't yet, just spinning off meditation, which is part of my life and work. If you haven't yet, just listen tonight with your eyes closed and allow yourself to get to another level of experience and listening and feeling. Yeah? There's many levels at which we can listen. Right? So some of you might be thinking about technique, structure, theory, organization, melody, whatever. Some of you might be just feeling it in your body and being so thankful to be in a live music space after such a long time. But whatever it is, I just invite you to let yourself enter another state of mind, a little bit deeper, and just kind of feel at another level than you have yet tonight, all right? Thanks a lot, and please help me thank these guys one more time. All right, please. Patrick Lui. Thank you all very much. Thank you, guys. Love it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Really great. So this was personally a great thrill and honor for me. Really appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Looking forward to next time. So I think we're going to break down. Is there? I'm going to hang for a little bit. Anyone else wants to share, or please go ahead.
Actually, I think it's a very broad question, but I would like to ask, how do you approach in improvisation? And just like someone will teach it very theoretically, just like playing with chord tones and add some non-chord tones and something theoretically, but someone will just say, don't think it and just play whatever sounds in your mind. I know there is no right or wrong, but how do you approach it, or what is maybe the percentage between them?
Both sides are important. So the theory, I always go back to the language and music metaphor, the analogy. So theory is like grammar. So you don't start with learning grammar, actually, right? You don't start with that. Think about English. How do we all start? We start with, I go to school by bus, right? Right? And we all know what that means. But individually, if we take apart the word, you might not know what every word means. And why do I use go? Why is it by bus? You don't ask that yet, but you learn the whole phrase. And you start having conversation with each other. And it's later on when you go back to the things you've learned, you start to take them apart and, it's by the means of the transport, right? So if you have any doubts, just always go back to the language metaphor. That's how I learned it, or that's how I understand it. So in music, in jazz, you start with learning licks, vocabulary, you use them, you use the same thing on the same chord every time, and then you start to transpose it, right? Same chord type, but C major 7 to F major 7 to B flat major 7. So in time, you try to be more fluent by using the same lick in different situations, transpositions or even different chord types. You tweak them a little bit, and then you try and keep having conversation. And how do you become fluent in a language? You want to become fluent in French? Get a French girlfriend. That's all they say. And that jokes aside, you have to keep playing. And there are some aspects of music that you really cannot put into words. Just keep playing, and then somehow, maybe 5 years from now, you look back and you just realize that how much progress you've made. You don't notice it like the next day, I'm how much better than yesterday. It's a very long journey, and you have to keep going at it. And again, when you learn a new language, you learn the bad words first, right? We all do that. So the lesson here is to pick something you connect with, something you find interesting, that you would love to play. And then you expand on it. So I guess that's my way.
Let's leave it there, and thanks again, everybody, for coming. All right, thank you, Patrick. All right. Thank you all so much. We're going to call it then, and then I'm sure we'll all be hanging out a little bit, so maybe we can just have smaller conversations. Yeah, sound good?
Yeah.
Maybe we get a little bit of light up, and
gentlemen,
look forward to next time, all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.